Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Into the Vault, the show where we reach back into the Disney vault, pull out a movie, and find out if it was a hidden treasure, or if it was locked away for our own good. I'm your host, Garrison MacCraw, and what are those letters in the sky? Oh, it's spelling out, hey, I'm coming in for a landing. There seems to be someone up there on a broom.
Poofed. Hey!
Oh my gosh, Jayden McGrael!
Yeah, it's me. I am a good witch, obviously. For those of you who cannot see me at home, I am not ugly. Therefore, I am not a bad witch.
Jayden, thank you so much for coming in, leaving all those smoke clouds up in our ceiling of the studio. That was we're gonna have to vacuum that out.
Yeah, I figure as much. We can just open up the doors to the porch. It'll be fine.
Yeah, just air it out. Just have to make sure.
It out.
I mean, the people were supposed to come and check the fire alarms recently, and they never did.
Yeah.
We got a whole notice on our door.
Yeah.
What's that all about?
I don't know, but it's better because I can keep throwing these fireballs since I'm a witch.
Yeah,
From the
all
joke
over the
that
place.
you set up.
Yeah,
remember?
yeah. Oh wait, here comes one now.
Phew, boom.
Great, now I don't have to edit in a sound effect.
You're welcome. Well, Garrison, we know you're not advanced enough to edit in sound effects.
I'm leaving a space for a sound effect that I'm never going to put in. So there's going to be an awkward space right there. I'm going to take that, cut it, put it back, and then people won't understand why it's there until 5 seconds later. It'll be great.
Perfect. Good
Hey,
plan.
Jayden, we're watching Oz the Great and Powerful today.
Yes,
Whoa.
we are.
We watched the original Wizard of Oz earlier, and we were like, maybe we should do a podcast tonight. And the decision was more Oz.
More Oz.
Yeah, this movie came out in 2013, and you are the biggest Wizard of Oz fan I know, and you haven't seen this one yet?
Yeah, when it came out, I must have been like 14 years old. I was definitely young enough to still be going into the Disney store, and this was like...
We still go into the Disney store.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
then we do podcasts about Disney.
Yes, yeah. But this was like vintage Disney store, you know, with all of the characters up at the top of the store, like little figurines and stuff, back when it was good, basically. And I remember seeing like Barbie dolls of the characters in this movie and thinking, what? You can't make a sequel to a movie that came out in 1930s. Like, you can't do that. And yet,
They did. With Return to Oz, which we already reviewed.
Yeah, that's fair. And then they made a prequel.
Yep.
So, I also was not the biggest fan of what's his face?
James Franco.
Yeah, James Franco. He just never did it for me.
You never liked Harry Osborn in Spider-Man?
Oh no.
You didn't like Oz from Oz the Great and Powerful?
Never seen it.
Oh, okay.
We should review it for your podcast.
Yeah,
sometime.
I've run out of James Franco examples all of a sudden.
I never
Tommy
liked...
Wiseau in the one where it's The Room.
I do not like him. I
do
do
not.
not. Oh, hi, Dorothy.
Well, in front of you, I've placed a poster of the movie.
How'd you get this poster here
My-
in the apartment?
My stack of posters
Oh,
in the studio.
yeah, in the studio apartment.
Yeah.
Just we rent a one bedroom, not
Yeah.
a studio.
I'm very deceitful with my phrasing on here.
Yeah, you are. You did place a poster in front of me.
Yeah, I'm not lying about that. Mm-hmm. Probably.
Not at all. 100% true.
So what do we see? What do we have going on here?
We got an assortment of characters, and they are all on the yellow brick road leading up to the Emerald City. We got some flying monkeys in the corner. We've got James Franco looking all up at the sky, and then a woman in white, and then a woman in red, and then a woman in green, and that's it.
All right, what if I told you each of these characters is a character from the original Wizard of Oz? Who would you guess each of them are?
Well, Oz the Great and Powerful, we know that's James Franco already.
All right.
I would guess the woman in white is going to be Glinda. The woman in green, although if we're getting particular about the lore of Wizard of Oz, the woman in green would still be green. She doesn't become green, but if this movie is retconning it, that's fine. But she would be the Wicked Witch of the West. And then the woman in red would probably be the Wicked Witch of the East. But I doubt that's who they are.
Well, you're either right or you're wrong.
Exactly.
So, we do know it's a prequel to Wizard of Oz.
Yes.
Now, when we reviewed Return to Oz last time, that was more of a sequel to the original Wizard of Oz book. Do you feel like this is going to be another case of it being more true to the book, or do you think they're going to try and make it more of a prequel to the 1939 film? 39? I could be wrong on that.
No, I think you're right on that.
Okay.
I think that it's going to be a good blend. It seems very, like, the design of the Emerald City is very much the same as the one from the movie, the 1939 movie. I think that that's going to be all very similar, but I think they're going to bring in references from the books to kind of fill those fantasy gaps.
Right, yeah.
Does that make sense? You know, like new characters
Yeah.
things and Jack Pumpkinheads and stuff.
The moose.
Yeah, the Gump.
The Gump.
The Gump.
Is it couch moose?
Where's my kids?
I heard a loud noise, and next thing I woke up like this. So, Jayden, what do you think this movie's going to be about? Because we know it's like Oz, the Great and Powerful, but based on like maybe commercials you might have seen at the time, those dolls you saw in the Disney store, and this poster, like what do you either think it's about, or what do you want it to be about?
Well, I mean, we all know the secret about Oz, right? Like, we all know the Wizard of Oz is fake. If I'm spoiling that, then I'm sorry, viewers at home, listeners at home, whatever you're doing to this podcast. But we all know that he's just, you know, a very, very smart, like, technological guy. So I think we're going to get that story of him in his hot air balloon coming along to Oz and getting lost the same way Dorothy does, and then having to fight off, like, two witches at the same time, but with his fancy thoughts.
Instead of just luck and houses.
Luck and houses. Or being cautious about your friend who's on fire.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, he's not successful because the witches are hanging out in the next movie. So, whatever his trickery is, it is less effective than dumb luck that Dorothy Gale has.
See, you say this as though there aren't multiple witches, Garrison. It's like the Sith. You know.
Always two there are. So the Wicked
Always
Witch of the East...
four there are.
The Wicked Witch of the East dies, a new one rises.
That's what I'm saying. At least that's what I'm going to do in my new D&D campaign.
Yeah, Jayden, you're doing a one-shot on the Indigo Chameleon Twitch channel on May
7th.
On May 7th. It's going to be all Oz-themed, and that's why we're kind of in the Aussie spirit. So if you guys head over to the Indigo Chameleon channel on Twitch, our good friend Billy McCoy, he's called The Scribe over there. He's been on this show a few times. He and his wife, Tracy McCoy, they run an awesome channel, Indigo Chameleon, and it's really cool. And they play D&D, and Jayden's going to be hosting her first time ever DMing for
As
D&D.
a Dungeon Master, yeah. I'm heckin' nervous is what I am, but it's going to be so fun.
We now interrupt this program for a message from Garrison from the future. Yes, hello. I did not release this episode in a timely manner like I thought I would, so the airing of Jayden's one-shot has already passed. I got a new job and left my old job, and life's been pretty crazy. So if you are interested in Jayden's Oz one-shot, if you go to the channel that we mentioned, Indigo_Chameleon, go to their videos little tab on their Twitch, And in recent broadcasts, it's called Welcome to Oz, a Hidden Worlds one-shot. It's still up. I know the Twitch videos do not last forever, so if you're interested, I recommend checking that out sooner rather than later. All right, back to your regularly scheduled programming. Yeah, it's going to be great.
Yeah.
I'm going to be playing a detective from Emerald City, a
the
PI.
seedy underbelly of Emerald City.
And he's going to be a real Humphrey Bogart kind of a guy. He's narrating everything he's done. That's just when that woman walked in. She had the face only a mother could love. You know, that kind of thing. So that'll be great. We have other characters like Tin Men and Flying Monkeys and the works.
Yeah, one of the other ones that stuck out to me is Sonny the Munchkin, who
works the Yellow Brick Road.
Brick Road company.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be great. I'm going to put some more information for that in the description of the podcast, so look over there. And Jayden, while they're looking over there, let's go watch a movie.
Yeah, let's do it.
So, guys, you just have to read the description for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
And then we'll come back.
Or they could click the link in the description. Take it to Indigo Chameleon. Watch them for however long we'll be away.
I have to figure out if I can actually put links in the description or if it's just like info. I'll see. Who knows?
Who knows? Not me.
Not me either. All right, goodbye. Movie time.
Bye.
And we are back. We have just finished watching Oz the Great and Powerful. Jayden, it is 11 o'clock at night because we started this really late, and that's a long movie.
It is. I feel like I am in the poppy field because I am asleep. No, just kidding. I am very much lucid and talking to you.
Oh.
Uh-huh.
You just like reviewing movies in your sleep.
Yep.
Jayden, this is something I've been meaning. This is an intervention.
5 out of 10 on Rotten Tomatoes. 75% on Rotten Tomatoes. The Zack Snyder cut was better than the Whedon cut. I don't remember who won the Oscar this year. I'm gonna keep doing this bit until
it's a good bit.
Me.
No, it's the best bit ever. Jayden, so let's just dive into the movie so we can go to bed.
Oh, thank God.
All right.
Yeah, the movie.
Yeah, we start out in Kansas in true Wizard of Oz fashion.
No, not in true Wizard of Oz fashion. If it were true Wizard of Oz fashion, it would have been a sepia tone frame, but instead they went with a boring black and white that was not very country picture of them at all. Yeah. It's a big grievance of mine.
Yeah, you had a lot of problems with the filming in the black and white instead of the brown and white?
Yeah, the brown and white. You know, like all old-timey farm photographs, they didn't have to film Wizard of Oz in a sepia tone. They could have done it in a black and white, you know, as true to their era, but they chose a sepia tone because that's old farmy photographs are colored that way.
So in fake Wizard of Oz fashion, we start out with the film in black and white, and we have Oscar Diggs, or Oz the Great and Powerful, as is his stage name. He's a circus magician, and he's doing the thing that every circus magician character in a movie's ever done, where it's like, hey, I'm going to trick people into believing it's real magic.
Yep.
And I guess back then people just did.
People believed that it was supposed to be magic and got mad when it was a fake, instead of getting a cool show where they still didn't know how it was done. You know, if they can anticipate the smoke and mirrors, all of a sudden it's like, hey, I should get my money back for this show that I am currently watching.
What's next? You're gonna tell me the bearded lady's not real either? You're gonna tell me what's another circus thing?
The Spider Woman?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna tell me she's not real?
Listen, we paid our entry fee of $3.99 to rent this movie, and despite it being bad and fake Wizard of Oz, we still aren't asking for a refund.
Yeah. Yeah, so Oz does his show for a crowd, and it's going pretty well until a little girl in a wheelchair like comes up and is like, "Hey, you just did that magic trick. Could you fix my legs and make me walk?" And the entire audience like turns on him.
Yeah,
Fix
make
her
the
leg.
girl walk. Which, not even a magic person could do, like, in a split second.
Do you think, like, even if you're a simple 1800s person, late 1800 or early 1900s,
Yeah.
do you think you would see, like, a street magician in Kansas, even if you thought the magic was real, and go, they are powerful enough to fix any ailment ever, and that's why they're performing in a circus in the street corners?
To be fair, in his magic show, he was showing, like, he was showing that one trick where you make somebody float horizontally, which is more than just, like, sawing somebody in half. Like, that is an advanced, like, 80s and onward level trick. So if I was a 1900s person seeing technology that was super far advanced, I would at least think that he has some medicine somewhere that is more advanced.
He should have sawed a woman in half. Then the little girl would be like, "Oh, that would do the opposite of help me."
Yes.
That would just mean my broken legs would also be gone. Oh, yeah, so onyx turns on him. He's also like this guy who's like always getting with different ladies or whatever.
Oh, the flirtiest of flirt men.
Yeah, Mr.
Yep.
James Franco.
Mr. James Franco plays the same guy in every movie. Don't trust him.
Yeah. He has his like ex stop by who's like, "Hey, I'm getting married. Just
She's
thought you
getting
ought to know."
married to George Gale. As
Yeah.
in Dorothy Gale's father, as in she's Emily. Like Aunt M.
And her outfit was very reminiscent of Dorothy's outfit as
Yeah.
well. So Oz is like, "Aw, man, I can't believe you're marrying this other guy."
But I'm destined for greatness, so I'm gonna do greatness.
Yep.
And then at the same time, the muscle man, strongman guy, he gets mad at him for
Flirting with his girlfriend at one point.
probably more than just flirting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's a tornado, and the strongman is chasing after him, and it's all happening all at once, and they don't really do it very well so that you can tell what's happening. But he gets into a hot air balloon, and the strongman tries to pull down the hot air balloon, and then he cuts the rope, and then he flies into the tornado.
Out of the frying pan into the tornado, as they say.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, "Well, this situation is not, it's not improved. This is actually worse."
Yep.
He gets zipped around in this tornado. He's like, help someone. I'll be a good person if I can just live. And then he lands, and then the aspect ratio increases and color comes back. And he's like, "Whoa, I'm in the land of Oz." From the movie The Wizard of Oz.
Yep. And he says that out loud,
Yeah,
and then they roll the credits. So he goes through a couple of hijinks landing in Oz. He lands in, like, this river. And here's my second criticism. For me, the entire fantasy world that they built does not really feel like Oz, in the same way that every rendition aside from animated Peter Pan doesn't really feel like Neverland, in the same way that they all kind of feel like Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland.
Just a big CGI thing of like big fancy flowers.
Yep.
Mountains.
Yep. Curlicue plants.
This is a plant that'll eat you.
Weird bird things, where it's like these fictional universes.
They're very distinctive.
They're so distinctive, and then when you get to these movies, they just combine everything that is weird instead of focusing on everything charming from the books.
They're just like, weird land, weird stuff.
Yeah. Like, I would have loved to see very farmland-esque principles like we see in the 1939 and the books, where it's just like very Midwestern inspired, very Americana style fantasy universe.
He meets a girl who's like, "Hey, you should probably get out of there. And my name's Theodora." And he's like, "Oh, hey, I'm Oz." And she's like, "Oh, just like Oz, the place we're in." He's like, yeah, sure, why not?" She's like, oh, there's a prophecy. You're the chosen one. There's a prophecy where a wizard with the name that's the same as the land will come in and save everyone.
From the Wicked Witch.
Yeah.
Ooh.
She's like, who's not me, by the way.
After the prophecy, they get chased around a little bit by one of the demon minions of the Wicked Witch, which is just a flying monkey that they're saving the reveal for. You know, they're like holding on like it's one of her minions. We don't know what it is.
It's just a big flying monkey.
It's just, what do you think the Wicked Witch uses? Flying monkeys? Yeah, it's probably that.
Yeah, so they're chased a little bit by this rather large flying monkey. I think it's referred to as a baboon. So I think these are flying baboons. I don't know if it's the same species, because we do see both flying monkeys and flying baboons.
Which was cool. That was cool.
I would love to see flying orangutans next time. And so they escape, and they have like a night together, and she's like really interested in him, and he's like really interested in the fact that she's a woman.
Yep.
Who's right in front of him, and so they do a little bit of kissing.
He uses every line in the book that he has already used in the movie.
Some of them straight out of like Attack of the Clones kind of dialogue. Like,
oh yeah, like cheesy up the wazoo. So yeah, she is thoroughly, consider her gobsmacked seduced by this icky, yucky, slimy man.
And she's like, oh man, once you fulfill the prophecy and get rid of the Wicked Witch and you take the throne of Oz, I'm going to be your queen and we'll all be together forever and it's going to be great. And he's like,
and he says, babe, what?
It's like, oh my God.
Oh my God.
Sure.
I kind of need to work out some commitment issues. I'm really focusing on my job right now.
They also on their journey meet a flying monkey who's in a little bellhop uniform that I don't think is ever explained.
Nope.
And he's tangled up in like some vines, like, hey, help, get me out of here. And he's like, all right, I'll help you. And like starts cutting him free. And then a lion attacks. And he's like, hey, go away. And does a puff of smoke and the lion runs away because he's a cowardly lion.
Who is never brought up again.
Nope.
It's just like a random stupid Easter egg.
Good.
Yep. Great.
This monkey bellhop, this flying monkey bellhop, has the same voice as as Oz's assistant back in the real world, who Oz was never very kind to, and now this monkey is his assistant
with a life debt.
Yeah.
He ends up telling the monkey actually like, hey, I don't think I'm the wizard, I think I am a con. And the monkey's like, what? No way. And he's like, yeah, way. And then we never pick up with that conversation again. Lots of loose ends here.
I'm sure we'll come back to it. Maybe. No, we won't. Never will. They make their way to the Emerald City, and they meet the witches, like Theodora's sister, who's also a witch, and is like, hey, we're both definitely the good witches. You can tell by our evil green uniforms that we are the good witches. But there's this evil witch that you gotta kill. Just gotta go kill her, and then you can have the throne, and
then you're king.
And you're king.
You get all this money.
And he's like, I love this plan. This is the greatest plan of all time. Let's go murder someone. I'm a likable protagonist. Let's go commit some murder.
And he talks about chalices for a bit.
Yeah, he's like, what is this? It's a chalice. Yeah, that was a good joke.
Yeah.
It was a great joke.
Great moment of this 2.5 hour movie that we watched at 8 p.m.
Yeah, so he and his monkey friend are going off, and they stop and see like some smoke in the distance, and the monkey's like, we gotta go help.
Yep.
Us. It's a character trait now of me that I help people.
Yep.
And I'm a good person, unlike you.
The bad person.
Yeah.
They end up in this porcelain village. There's like a bunch of wrecked up teacups and teapots.
It's called Chinatown.
Chinatown. That's actually a reference to the books.
No, that is good.
Yeah. And they find this little China doll girl with broken legs who's, guess what? voiced by the girl from the magic show in the wheelchair.
Nice.
Yep.
He helps fix her legs with some glue and says, like, oh, it's magic. It's magic glue. It's like regular glue.
Yep.
But magical.
And then she self-inserts her way into their quest, despite the fact that she literally broke herself in two just not that long ago. She becomes like a little feisty miser.
So I have to pause here because the scene in the China village where he helps her, like, genuinely is a very well done scene in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
I think the performances by everyone were really good, and it was very emotional, and like you really feel it when he puts her back together, and like when they hug. And I love the design of the porcelain doll.
Mm-hmm.
I think she I think it looks really nice, like very likable, like you want her to be happy, like just by the design of it.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to the monkey, which has a weird generic CG monkey face that is unpleasant to look at for more than 2 seconds.
Still looks like Zach Graff.
Graph.
What did I say?
Graph.
Yeah, Zach the Graff.
Zach the Graph.
Look at this, Zach.
That's like a 2-step joke.
Yeah.
You have to like separate 2 elements. And then they continue on their way to go murder someone into a spooky forest.
A spooky forest filled with some spooky plants.
Some spooky plants.
Yeah, does it really matter to the plot?
No. They escape the spooky plants, and then they see her, the witch, the evil witch.
Going into a graveyard. Figures.
Yeah, sounds like an evil thing an evil witch would do. And then they go get her, and it's Glinda. She's like, hey, I'm actually a good witch. And they're like, oh, we believed the last time some witches said they were good witches, but now we will believe you.
Speaking of the other not so good witches, Evanora, the older, not Mila Kunis, which is watching them through their crystal ball and is thinking to herself, oh no, now he knows. So she sends out all of her armies of baboons and Winkies to this graveyard to like go screw
kill
them up. Yeah.
Just get him.
To just go get him. And she also pulls Theodora off to the side and is like, look, he's with Galinda now. And he also tried to be all flirty with me. And she's like, what? And gets really upset and starts crying.
She's like,
fire tears.
I trusted him and I loved him. It was the best 10 minutes of my life, the time I was
with him,
around him.
Yep.
And we talked for a little bit. And yeah, again, really cool moment. Because Theodora's, spoiler, the Wicked Witch of the West. And she starts crying, and her tears leave like burn marks on her face, which is so cool. Because the water melting the witch, and then it's immediately taken away.
Yep. Because her other sister, the Wicked Witch of the East, decides to give her a poison apple.
Classic Wizard of Oz.
Wizard of Oz. Which, it would be such a cool reference to the apple trees if they had made any sort of connection to it. But unfortunately, they did not do that for us.
Is this implying, because when, I'm just going to say Wicked Witch of the West and East now.
Yeah.
When the Wicked Witch of the West bites the apple, she turns all green and evil and all cackly. And the burn marks are removed. It's very smooth. Are they implying that in The Wizard of Oz, when those trees were angry at Dorothy, they were throwing apples to try to turn her into a witch?
I don't think so. I think that Dorothy was trying to pick an apple to eat, and they were like, don't eat the apples.
I choose to believe this retcon.
We don't need any more witches.
That's
have
why.
Enough. We have our 4.
That's why they're throwing the apples. It's like, no, If you eat one,
we're trying to save
you,
you, Dorothy.
Back to the wizard and all his friends. They get into a bubble and start floating around.
Yeah,
nice.
In order to avoid the flying monkeys that could easily just fly after these bubbles.
Some fast bubbles.
I know. They just fly past where the flying monkeys want to fly, I guess.
Yeah.
For no reason, the flying monkeys decide not to chase them anymore.
Well, flying monkeys get tired.
Yeah, I should give them more credit.
Yeah. You think flying is easy?
Yes.
Yeah,
when you're in a bubble.
When you're in a bubble. And they start heading towards
Quadling country,
and there's a bigger bubble around that. They pass through it because like, only good people can come through it, and then they all do, and they're like, all right, the witches can't get in because we've established this force field, and hey, wizard, tell everyone you're the wizard. And he's like, hey, everyone, I'm the wizard, and everyone starts cheering.
Woo!
Yeah. And it's like, hey, we're all gonna be your army, even though none of us know how to fight, but we're gonna take out those witches.
Yep. They have people who can make scarecrows and make tin men and make all sorts of things. The Quadlings are joined by a group of tinkerers, and the Munchkins come and join them and sing like a quasi musical number, and they're all like teaming up together.
My least favorite bit in any movie or TV show ever is when a notoriously like sing-songy group is like starting to sing, and then someone's like, no, don't do it.
I know, as if the sing-songy, because we just watched the original Wizard of Oz today. The Munchkin Land sequence in original Wizard of Oz is fantastic. So to write it off as annoying is ridiculous. Ridiculous. I mean, granted, there's lots wrong behind the scenes with Wizard of Oz.
But they don't know that in this movie, because they're living it.
Yeah, they're living it.
They don't know about the behind the scenes.
They can't... Yeah, and not only that, but some of the imagery from Munchkin Land sequence is some of the most classic iconography in vintage cinema. So to just say, oh, they have annoying voices, gives off the same vibe as when people say Snow White has an annoying voice and tell Snow White to shut up.
Yeah.
You shut up.
Yeah,
Snow White's great.
Snow White is great.
Fun fact.
Yeah, I would love to hear this fun fact.
Andrea Castellati, the voice of Snow White, also did a voice in Wizard of Oz. This is her only other voice role because she's signed that non-compete with Walt Disney Studios. And she is not credited for this, but she is the voice that says, "Wherefore art thou, Romeo?" in the song "If I Only Had a Heart."
That's so cool.
It is a really cool fun fact. Especially for you, because you love your voice actor-y.
I do love voice actor
so
stuff.
much.
I just want to say the one from Monty Python in the Holy Grail where he's like, don't sing, that actually is really good, but that's the only time it's ever been good. Stop all that singing, stop it. That's good.
That's good. At this point in the movie is when Oz has his 4th or 5th different crisis of faith.
Mm-hmm.
And is like, I'm not a real wizard. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to run an army and fight back and not kill anybody. Despite the fact that he was so gung-ho about killing Glinda before. And Glinda is like, listen, I know you're a con man, but you gotta do this. And he's like, I guess you're right. Let's do some Houdini Edison style, like, magic-y, like, smoke and mirrors. And that'll be enough.
It'll be good enough.
It'll be good enough.
Yep. And Wicked Witch of the West shows up, full green, pointy hat, cackling away, comes right through the bubble. Even though they make a point of like, the Wicked Witch of the East isn't powerful enough to get in, not alone. And then the Wicked Witch of the West comes in, but the Wicked Witch of the East isn't there.
Yep.
So why did they establish the bubble? All right.
It would have been such a cool scene if it was both of them at the same time, because we've already gotten a scene in like a random town square of the Wicked Witch of the West showing up and causing chaos and raising a fuss and being like, well, I'm gonna come back later, but this is your warning. And it would have been a cool flip to do it with both of them and be like,
this is them in their
look at
prime
these
when they were
girl
together.
Bosses.
Girl bosses.
Look at these girl bosses. These boss babes. So after they make this plan, and the Wicked Witch leaves, they all get to work to defeat her.
Yep, they start building machines and fireworks and knobs and bobbins and little twisty
all
knots
sorts
and
of things.
that. And let's just go to the next bit where they do the attack, because that's what's important.
It's a pretty cool like battle strategy, I will say, for what they've done. Because Glinda, of course, Emerald City is surrounded by the Poppy Field. We all know Poppy Field is Drowsyville McSleepytown. And Glinda, like, freezes it over, makes her little snow clouds the same way she does in the 1939. And then they have these, like, scarecrows on bikes that just kind of like paddle their way in and fool the flying baboon monkeys. Flying baboon monkeys all fly into the poppy field, and then the snow melts, so the monkeys all fall asleep, taking away the one source of army aside from the Winkies.
So half the army is asleep in the poppy fields, and they're like, curses, we forgot about the poppy fields that are right outside the city and have always been there.
Darn it.
We couldn't see it because it was kind of covered in fog.
I would have loved to see more of this, like, weird battle between, like, weird alchemy and tricks. And...
like, you would have wanted to see, like, a couple more, like, waves of attack. Like, the poppy field is just the first wave, and then maybe, like, some tin men, and then maybe some...
cowardly lions, and then...
bears and tigers.
Oh, my.
Yes.
Yes. No, I would
the wheelies from the Return to Oz. Have those guys in there too.
No.
Yeah, throw in the wheelies. Justice for the wheelies.
They do not deserve justice.
They're weird stilt legs that have wheels on them.
But instead of getting a few extra rounds of combat, two flying monkeys that I guess didn't fall asleep just swoop her up and carry her into the Emerald City for
Glinda, the good witch.
Execution.
Yep, they grab Glinda. They get her all chained up on a stage, and the Wicked Witches come out and are like, hey!
Time to execute ya!
You're gonna be dead now. And
Hashtag be your own boss.
Yeah. Start zapping her with lightning, going full Palpatine.
Yep.
On her. I did think it was interesting that, like, that the Wicked Witch of the West has like fire, and the Witch of the East has electricity. I thought that was neat.
Yeah, well, they really did do a trick on me, because I thought that they were going to be reversed from the movie poster, and I thought that the one in red and white and black would be the Wicked Witch of the East because of her color palette, and the one in green would be the Wicked Witch of the West. But it makes more sense that the one with red would turn into the Wicked Witch of the West, because red and fire, it's all coming together.
And green and electricity. Classic combo.
Right.
Somehow, Palpatine returned.
Somehow, Oz returned.
Yeah.
He commissioned this huge, big,
somehow
hot air balloon.
Returned to Oz.
Somehow returned to Oz. He commissioned this huge, big hot air balloon and kind of did a trick on everybody where he was like stealing some of the gold and the chalices that he was so up in arms about before.
Love those chalices.
And then he tempts the Wicked Witch of the West to throw a fireball at the hot air balloon and explode him. Joke's on everybody. He wasn't ever inside. He was just...
not inside, and
not
somehow
inside.
Got all the way down the castle without getting spotted and got into his little machine, and they somehow pushed it into the middle of this crowd And
they finally reveal the huge iconic projection of the Wizard of Oz giant head.
you know what? James Franco has a really giant head already, so
Oh yeah.
looked right. Looked
Yep.
good on him.
Yep, he's got a huge head. And what's on top of his neck ain't bad either. I meant it as an ego thing.
Ah.
Like his head is huge.
Thank you for that clarification.
I'm sorry.
So now he's in his machine and they're like doing all the knobs and wiggins and like turning stuff. So his head is projected large and he's like saying, I've been killed, but I've become more powerful than you could possibly imagine.
And they try and shoot fireballs at him and it doesn't work. And he is like, well, I guess it's time for me to resort to my last option. I'm going to release the stars.
And then they
shoot off fireworks.
somehow the Munchkins from across the way with no telephones were able to know, hey guys, I think right now
time.
we're supposed to shoot the fireworks. I'm pretty sure.
Well, I think one of his friends, like there's a Munchkin guy that helps him in and out of the city. I think one of them must have shot the first firework as kind of a flare, and then
Like a
everybody
signal,
else shot the next ones.
And they had like a cannon of fireworks that they would shoot it and it would look like it was coming out of his mouth right at the witch. That was nice.
Meanwhile, as this is happening, a little porcelain girl has been trying to get Glinda's wand, which was left behind when she was stolen by the flying monkeys, up to Glinda, and she succeeds and Glinda escapes.
Yes.
So there's not that to worry about anymore.
Now Glinda's facing off with the Witch of the East.
Yes. They're fighting, and they both start flying at the same time, and they just keep zapping each other with electric or cold. And
You guys ever seen a movie where two characters with magic fight each other? It was like one of those.
Like one of those.
Just flying around in two beams, hitting each other, and
Yep.
somehow pointing your wand makes your side go stronger.
Glinda ends up breaking the Wicked Witch of the East insignificant necklace, which this is my third complaint. We never see that being the source of her power ever. Like, they never explain that ever, so they're just like, oh, I broke your necklace. I guess you don't have power anymore. Despite the fact that they never introduced that, I thought that all witches could just do the witch stuff, you know?
It almost seemed like the amulet, because after she turned into like an ugly witch, was like more of like a glamour charm kind of a deal.
Oh yeah.
But still, she was like, I look ugly now. I guess I gotta retreat. So maybe it was a magic. Like, again, very poorly explained what was going on there.
Well, she tried to do her electricity on.
And it didn't work.
Yeah,
It was a long movie. I don't know what
Yeah,
happened.
it's okay. Meanwhile, cut back to Wicked Witch of the West. Her and this giant head have a yelling match because the giant head is just a projection and is therefore indestructible. Meanwhile, she's just so angry all the time that she just decides to fly off.
And she's like, I'll get you.
I'll get ya. And nobody else because you don't have a dog.
Yep, just you.
He's like, hey, you can come back if you ever are good again. And she's like, no, thank you though. And that's how this entire battle ends.
Yep, they just kind of leave.
They just kind of leave. They set up the projections back in the throne room, which ends up looking very much like the movie area, you know, where the Wizard of Oz resides.
Yeah, the curtain and everything.
Yeah. And it ends with him giving out gifts to all of his friends.
Where it's like, hey, you're my friend, monkey. My gift is my friendship.
My gift is my friendship. He becomes a better gift giver over time, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he becomes
what if that was the gift at the end of like Wizard of Oz, where it's like, and for you, Dorothy, we can be friends.
We can be friends now. Here's an article of my clothing. Here's my shoe.
And then he's like, all right, we just have to be ready for when the witches come back, and they will come back. Which, if we stick to the Wizard of Oz, means he's like, those witches are gonna come back. So he's been on the lookout for like, from James Franco age to old man age for like 30 to 40 years, just looking for someone to go kill this witch for him.
Yeah, and the thing is, he doesn't do anything about it because, as we know from Wizard of Oz original movie, the Munchkins were being terrorized by the Wicked Witch of the East. Like, she was a dictator to them. She was bossing them around, probably kicking them.
Oh, I'm so glad you said tater, or else I would have to edit.
Oh.
You left a weird space.
But she was being so authoritarian and probably like punting them all around and stuff.
Telling them their musical numbers were terrible.
Yeah, being real mean. And
just breaking their self-confidence, really.
Yeah. And Munchkinland, that place is probably like the least defensive. Like, they probably have the worst defenses out of any of the other countries.
I mean, did you see they have like little armies do their marches? So they at least have ROTC going on in there.
Yeah, they do have the Lollipop Guild, which like they do look intense. Those Lollipop Guild members.
They would punch you.
Yeah, they would probably kick you in the shin and then run away.
Yeah.
Which would definitely hurt and also offend me.
And that's it. That's the whole movie.
Yeah. No, it's not the whole movie. His present to Glinda is he takes her behind the curtain and kisses her. What? Excuse me?
He learned nothing this whole movie.
He learned nothing this whole movie.
Last time he did that, he turned a witch evil.
His character arc was bad.
Oh,
and
also, okay, Glinda was the same woman who was getting married in the real world. Like, it was the same actor.
Yeah.
Woman getting married to John Gale and Glinda are the same. Flying Monkey and his assistant are the same. Porcelain Girl and the wheelchair are the same. So I want to break this down real quick because I've been thinking about this for a while. Mm-hmm. In The Wizard of Oz, it's kind of a dream, you know? And she kind of creates these scenarios that help.
And you were there, and you were there, and you were there.
But she wakes up and then she like learns her lesson, whatever. He stays in Oz, which means he created the self-insert little girl for the legs he couldn't fix. He did this for the monkey, for the guy he couldn't like actually respect and be friends with. And he created a new woman that looked the same for him to get with because the other one was getting married. He just created a whole universe.
Yeah.
And like all those other people like still have their problems.
He's definitely got like some sort of psychological evaluation waiting for him. You know, like I'm getting narcissistic personality disorder mixed with a little bit of disassociation. Like just a little bit.
Like he feels good about himself. Like, I did it. I solved my leg problem. I solved the friendship problem. Those people are still hurting.
Poor Kansas.
Yeah,
Poor Kansas.
They're not doing good. Also, that tornado came and he was swept up and we never saw the result. I just assume everyone at that circus is now dead. They all died.
Even the people who were customers?
They all got swept away. The tornado was right there and it was huge.
Yeah.
That was like a 5.
That means the little porcelain girl is dead, canonically.
I mean,
and
obviously, Glinda in the real world, obviously she got away to get married.
Emily Gale.
Yeah, Emily Gale. But at least I like to assume everyone else is dead. That's why he never woke up, because there would be nothing left.
Amazing.
What a movie.
What a movie.
Hey, Jayden.
Yeah.
I would love to hear your thoughts on this in a little bit. But first, how about some trivia?
Sure thing.
So in reference to the parks, there isn't anything right now that is Oz the Great and Powerful themed. And if our listeners go back to our Return to Oz review, that's where I kind of break down all the general Wizard of Oz things that Disney World has. But for Oz the Great and Powerful, they did during the Epcot Flower and Garden Festival in 2013 or 2012 or whatever Flower and Garden Festival happened right before the movie came out. They had their playground themed to be Oz the Great and Powerful. And they had little, like, circus carnival games where it was, like, do a ring toss, do a beanbag toss.
Oh, that's cute.
They had, like, the basket of the hot air balloon, like, kind of crashed in the flowers. They had flowers arranged to be, like, a yellow path. They actually had, like, a little yellow brick road you could walk across.
Okay,
and then
that is...
generic playground that they said, Oz the Great and Powerful.
Yep, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That about covers.
But that's as far as I'm aware. I'm sure there were other like promotional things at the time because I think they thought this was going to be bigger than it was.
Well, they thought that for Nutcracker and for all of these like weird CG one-offs.
Yeah.
These 3D spectacles.
They've tried so hard to get Pirates of the Caribbean interest again. Live action adventure. They've tried so hard.
I know. The only thing that's come even a little bit close has just been the very first Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah, and that one was very successful financially. Yeah. Not super successful critically.
No.
But I
liked it.
It had a little bit more staying power. Like, I don't hear anyone talk about it too much nowadays. Mm-hmm. But at the time, you would see, like, even the Johnny Depp rendition of the Mad Hatter pop up in certain Disney park stuff. And he still kind of is in Disneyland, or at least he was pre-pandemic.
Yeah, with the Disney Villain event that they had. Yeah, I think that with Helena Bonham Carter and Johnny Depp's performances in the Alice in Wonderland, those are definitely the most remembered things. Same with Anne Hathaway. I feel like Anne Hathaway I saw costumes of.
Yeah.
And same with that Alice dress.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of people dressed up like that for a while.
Yeah.
But again, Oz the Great and Powerful didn't quite do that for them. It wasn't, like, not successful. And there was an Oz the Great and Powerful temple run that I remembered playing.
Amazing. Did you just run down the yellow brick road?
No, it was like those paths in the beginning when they were escaping from the big flying monkey.
Oh.
Like those hills.
So not the yellow brick road?
No.
What? Oh, that's a missed opportunity.
You're telling me. I'm the one who had to play it.
Yeah, that's fair. You're the one who chose to play it.
Hey,
you saw that they didn't use
I don't
the yellow
choose
brick road
what apps my mom downloads in 2013. I didn't have a phone. Or I did, and it was a flip phone.
Yeah. Well. Sorry. Poppy Field.
Also, the director of this, Sam Raimi, who is most notable for the original Spider-Man movies with Tobey Maguire, the Evil Dead movies. This is the last movie he's directed.
Oh.
He has not directed a movie since this one.
Probably because he used up all of his cheap 3D tricks.
This movie was filmed in 3D, and this was peak era of like
highest.
Trying to throw in as many 3D gags as they could. Post Avatar, like 2009, all the way to probably 2013, 2014.
Yeah.
Every movie had like a character reaching their hand out towards the camera.
Oh, that was the directing style. Now it's like hyper close-ups.
Yep.
Which, chef's kiss, may I just say.
Much better.
Because I would rather get that than like somebody throwing their hat. Or somebody being like, I have to look for this character. Let me kind of zoom up a little bit closer.
But since the first bunch of this movie was filmed in black and white and in 3D, this movie has the longest 3D filmed sequence for a black and white film. Or a film in black and white. So that's neat, probably.
I guess.
Just combining old 10-year-old technology with 60-year-old technology.
I mean, that just kind of feels like a cool stat by default.
Because who else would do it?
Who else would do it?
I mean, did you see The Artist in 3D? That was wild. But that's about all the trivia I have, really. So I think it's time for us to build a ride. Ride. Jayden, at Walt Disney World Resort, if they had a budget to do anything, and for some reason the Oz the Great and Powerful was super successful.
Oh, yeah.
And they decided, this is it. We're building an attraction, some sort of either ride show, restaurant, land, theme park, you name it. Built around Oz the Great and Powerful. What are we thinking? Where should it be? What could it be?
Well, you and I were both saying while we were watching that it should be some sort of hot air balloon-esque ride.
Yes.
Yes. In my head, it would follow the same mechanics as like Wizarding World style, where you're attached to a giant crane.
Okay, like the arm.
The arm thing. And that would be kind of how you would get around via your hot air balloon. And you would get to see different parts of Oz that you see in the movie. You'd get to see the Emerald City. You'd get to see or the carnival is where you'd start. You'd get that transition from black and white. You get to see the Emerald City. You'd get to see like the graveyard and the broken down like ceramic village, Chinatown, and you'd see like this sky battle between like maybe Glinda and the Wicked Witch of the West would make an appearance, and you have like something almost hit ya and zoom past ya, and then at the end there would have to be a transfer system from you to get from this crane to an actual body of water.
Yes.
Surprise, you're in a boat the whole time. You do this little like rapid down and you end up in Quadling country next to Glinda's castle, and everybody's cheering for you.
That sounds awesome. May I offer a slight variation?
Sure.
Perhaps starts out, because the scene of the hot air balloon in the water is very early in the film.
Yes.
I think it would be cool and maybe even a little more plausible if it were a ride that starts in the water and perhaps the arm is an overhead sort of deal.
Okay.
So if it starts in the water and as you go into like a drop, like a classic water ride drop, and like they have the whole pathway all the way down that you can see, and as you start going down, lifts you up forward and you're no longer on this drop hill and you are now flying.
I like that idea.
I don't know how it would work or how it's possible, but that's why we're Imagineers and not Imagineers that do the engineering part.
Yes, I like that idea, but I think that it's important for it to start in black and white.
I see.
So maybe it starts because you'd have to board in water.
Uh-huh.
So maybe that's just like the entry is like you see the twister coming up and you see a drop ahead of you and the twister's coming up, and then you get lifted up into this crane system. Put down, and we'll retcon so that the river part comes at the very end of this journey, so it can just like safely take you down to the Great Hall. Just kidding. To Glinda's house with all of your friends like cheering for you, and then like the slightly calmer group of friends at the very end.
I need a pre-show beforehand. We get Zach Braff back in the booth to voice the monkey, and it's got to sound so...
Flying can be hard, guys.
Yeah.
Trust me, it took me a whole 2 years to learn when I was a baby monkey.
But I need him to sound so uninterested in this project. His agent's like, we got to do this theme park thing. And Zach Braff's like, are you kidding? Is it a Chicken Little thing? Please tell me it's not a Chicken Little thing.
And they're like, no, it's the monkey. And he's like, it's worse.
My favorite thing of all time is in theme parks when like an actor is not putting their like A game into it at all. And usually Disney rides are pretty good about it, and I'm not here to just bash on Universal rides, but a lot of the times it is on Universal rides where that is the case.
Yeah, the one where I notice at the very least, where I think that the actor puts in their A game, is either John Boyega, because it's very hard for John Boyega to do Finn at all, knowing that Star Wars just wrecked him. And him putting in any effort is applause worthy. Or Bradley Cooper in
like as Rocket,
because
and
it's so
get
good.
things started.
It's so good. That's where you come in.
I think Bradley Cooper, anytime he does Rocket, it's just a treat. Like, oh, it's a Rocket Day? Whoa. Oh, man.
This would probably be in a Hollywood Studios area, by the way. I don't know where. It'll be in the
Hollywood
lot.
Studios. It would, if only it were still MGM, because Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
Classic. I think the past few times we've done something in Hollywood Studios, we've put in Animation Courtyard, but that wouldn't work because it's not an animated movie.
No.
I think perhaps it would have to be down Sunset Boulevard.
Perhaps down Sunset Boulevard,
Maybe.
or perhaps like on the opposite side of Star Tours area, kind of near Backlot.
Near Backlot, so there's the indie stage, kind of near the Backlot. There would have to almost be like
a pathway in
like
between.
Pathway in between. You could put up walls, or so like you can't see the indie stage, and yeah, you could do that, and then have it kind of go back into where like cast areas right now, build in there, and then I don't know, whatever cast can figure it out. Also, we should get James Franco back in for some of it, because he looks mostly the same but a little older, where he's just old enough where it's slightly jarring. And I think that's great.
I think that's
my
perfect.
favorite thing when theme parks. I also love when they do that, where it's like,
ooh, that's just a little bit different.
Okay, biggest offender is Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure. These two men,
these poor men,
or Arthur Weasley and Hagrid, who are in their probably like what 50s and 40s during the movie, and now are in their like upper 60s or 60s, and they're trying to play the same age. But you can tell.
Yep. Well, that's the ride.
That is the ride.
I think it's the best ride ever.
You're correct. So now we have to decide if this is a hidden treasure or if it should be locked away. And I'm sick of reviewing these middle-of-the-road movies.
No, here's what I would want. I would want a redo with better cinematography. And a little bit better writing.
Yeah, I think the ideas here, the ideas work.
The ideas work. Half of the scenes don't work.
But the other half do work?
The other half do work. The cinematography doesn't. This isn't a middle of the road movie. This is a both sides of the road, two different movies that were cobbled together.
And it's so weird because usually Sam Raimi, I mean, he's had some misses, but normally, like, it has a vibe, and even if it's a weird vibe, it's all one vibe.
Right.
And this is very all over the place for him.
So that's what I would request, is a redo with me advising the directing team. Because I know best.
You do know your Oz stuff.
Thank you.
My favorite part was when we were watching and they went to the city, Quad City.
Oh, Quadling Country.
Quadling Country, and you're like, I bet this is Quadling Country. And they landed and like, these are the Quadlings.
And it's like, yeah, boy, I knew it. I knew it from the moment I saw them. They look like Quadlings.
You know what? For me, I think I have to recommend watching it. I think I do. I think it's more, the bad stuff isn't egregious. And the good stuff is pretty good, Like, I would scale Rotten Tomato style, I would put this like 60 out of 100. You know what I mean?
I see that. For me, the good stuff that they have is not worth the bad.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a purist of like a cinema purist.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it is not worth it. And there are definitely other better 3D spectacles that you could watch than this one. But you also can't throw it in the trash because it has the longest 3D black and white title in the Guinness World Record book.
And
so
what more could you want out of a movie, really?
I know. That's all I watch movies for, is I'm like, well, first off, this doesn't pass the 3D test because there's not even any black and white in this. And second, no 3D.
Zack Snyder made a mistake. He should have, like, when he did the black and white Justice League Snyder cut, should have also incorporated some 3D elements and taken home all those titles. You know what I mean?
Every title.
Release the Snyder 3D cut in black and white, please.
I would say that this copy is a treasure-ish until another one that is better gets made, and
then we can get rid of this one.
Then we can replace it and swap it out.
It's that book on the bookshelf where it's like, this isn't my favorite, but as soon as I get another one, this is the one that I'm okay with replacing.
Yes.
I'm totally on board with that. That is...
Thank you.
So, guys, that's it. We give a very, very lukewarm recommendation for Oz the Great and Powerful.
Yep.
Just
watch Wizard of Oz.
Just watch The Wizard of Oz.
It's a good movie.
Also, this is not on Disney Plus right now, so you would have to pay for it. This is not a movie to pay for. Wait till it ends up back on some streaming service, and then put it on while you're folding laundry. Which I did do. I did fold our laundry while we had this on.
Yes. The best way to podcast and movie review.
Yeah. But Jayden, before we go, in terms of Wizard of Oz, Return to Oz or Oz the Great and Powerful?
Return to Oz.
Really?
Yeah, Return to Oz was better in my opinion.
Better?
Better.
Jayden, that's the worst movie I've watched ever.
And yet, it was more Wizard of Oz to me. It was better Wizard of Oz content despite being a worse movie. And if I'm watching a Wizard of Oz property, I want to see Wizard of Oz content, not a good movie.
And this one didn't have a moose couch.
This one did not have the Gump, or Jack Pumpkinhead, or the Gnome King.
It's the worst movie of all time.
Or Mombi.
I have not watched a worse movie for the show.
Maybe I just need a refresh on it, which I will watch in order to prepare for my campaign. Don't forget to tune into my campaign.
Yeah, Indigo Chameleon. Friday, May
7th.
Friday, May 7th. Follow on Instagram at Indigo_Chameleon for updates on that, and then you can watch us play some D&D and other cool people, and it's pretty awesome. And if you've never watched streamed D&D, it's fun. It's like playing D&D without any of the work.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Jade, are you getting into that hot air balloon?
Oil can.
Did you have another bit prepared? But yes. I started doing a bit, but you decided to steamroll my bit with your own bit?
I did. Well, you steamrolled my opening, which was going to be the oil can.
How can I my show? Can't steamroll myself.
Well, you should ask people for their preference of bits.
Never. I will throw in whatever bit.
Okay, then I guess I'll just run away in this hot air balloon. Goodbye.
She really did run away in it like a Flintstones character. She picked it up and just started going. All right, well, I'm alone now. We'll see you next time.